Hello and welcome to the DGTL Growth Podcast, where business leaders share real wins and the challenges behind them. I'm Suse Barnes. Today, I'm thrilled to be joined by DeAnna Rogers, General Manager at Epic Network Systems. DeAnna, thanks for joining us today.
I'm so glad to be here. Thank you.
Wonderful. Tell us about Epic Network and what you do and your vision for the company.
Yeah, so I've been very blessed. Epic Network is a company that was birthed in the pandemic. It stands for Epically Profit in Crisis. But we used to be doing events all the time. Roland Fraser, myself, we traveled, did events, taught people we had different things that we taught, but we were actually at an event when the pandemic hit and the world shut down. And so events kind of stopped for a little bit. So we decided that we would share what we do with people on challenges, which is we acquire businesses. So we started teaching. Roland brought his 40 years of experience to the table, was sharing on how to do acquisitions with zero money out of pocket. And so we created this opportunity for people to be able to go out and leave their job, or if they were not able to work, where they could go and acquire a business with very little money down or with zero down at all. And so it took off, and it no longer just became like a virtual event. It became a business, and it became a full-on company. And so here we are 6 years later. We are acquiring our own businesses. We do deals all the time. We acquire lots of different niches. We've got auto shops. We've got digital marketing shops. All these different businesses that we've acquired or had consulting for equity deals in over the last couple of years. And so now that's what we do. We've worked with about 120,000 people in the last
Wow.
6 years. Yeah, just since that happened, they've come through our challenge. We have coaching programs. We have all those things. But what was really cool about it was that we were able to share what we were doing, and something that we thought was just going to be, oh, we're just going to tell you what we're doing and hopefully you guys can go do this, then became its own company. And it was really fun to see that growth.
Wonderful. What do you attribute that to? How do you explain that kind of success?
Well, I think it's because actually, I think it was the timing, right? Like, I think people were stuck at home or not wanting to drive into a job, and then owning their own business became something that was very appealing to people. And at the time, you've got a lot of people that are older that don't really know how to sell their business or to sell it correctly. And so, like, we can come in and ethically be able to help them with that business. A lot of them were shutting their doors because of the pandemic. So instead of studying, why don't you sell it? Make some money on the thing that you spent years growing. And so I think that's what was so great about it, because we were seeing people just shut doors. They're like, we're not getting business. We're just closing the doors. And it's like, why don't you sell it? You spent 20 years building this business. Sell it, make some money out of it, but don't just close the doors. And so that's why we were so excited to be able to share that opportunity to people. And so people could go, whether it was autos, whether it was dog grooming, whether it was boring businesses like storage units or, car washes, like whatever it is, rather than just shutting doors, they sell. And then versus people just having a job, they can acquire it. So it was just like kind of putting those pieces together.
Awesome. You said quickly, epically profit in crisis. Is it?
Ethically
Yes,
profit crisis. Yeah.
yes. And is that still? I mean, do you still feel like we're in crisis?
I don't think that we're necessarily in crisis, but what I do still see is that people are wanting to retire, or they're not really sure of what to do with their business. It could also just be that they're stuck. They're stuck in non-growth mode, right? And so maybe they need a business partner with a new set of eyes, or with younger, you've got someone here. I saw this yesterday in an auto shop where he's 70 years old. He's been in it for 35 years, but he's tired. Doesn't necessarily want to sell it, but he knows it needs to grow, but he doesn't have the energy to grow it. So you take someone that's younger, they come in and become a partner with him. Now they can both win, right? So I think there's lots of ways where that makes sense. So not necessarily that the economy is as bad, but I do think there's so much opportunity, and that's what we're trying to let people see things in a different way, to where they're seeing the opportunity.
Do you feel like you're being creative with solutions for people? Yeah.
Yeah, like, I feel like it's like a puzzle. Like, and Roland always talks about, he's like, there's over 250 different strategies on how you can acquire business. There's just and more every day because there's lots of ways that you can be creative, and I think that's what makes it more fun is that you can think outside of the box. And it's not just, oh, I have to do traditional funding. I have to buy this business. No, there's lots of ways to do it. And that's what makes it kind of unique and fun is that you get to use your skills or other people's ideas to figure out how to get that business in a creative way that is beneficial to the seller and beneficial to you.
Mhm. Well, what are you excited about for Epic today?
Well, we're kind of shifting. We're doing a shift right now where we're focusing on deal flow. We kind of, in the last 5 years, got sucked in this wind tunnel of like everybody wanted to buy a course from us. Roland started creating all these courses and we started selling courses, and we're like, we lost what we had started out with when that's just focusing on deals. And deals is what we love. And so we're doing a little pivot again for 2026 that we're just not going to sell courses anymore. We're going to go back to doing the deals. What we loved, what was our bread and butter, what we truly believed in, and what Roland spent 40 years building. And so I'm very excited about that because deals, it is your financial freedom. Like for me personally, doing the deals with Roland is one thing. I also personally, with my husband and children, we own several companies as well. So now I can give financial freedom to my sons and my grandchildren. That's something I couldn't do before, but I can do that now with acquisitions. And so we're gonna spin back to focusing on what it was that we started with, and that's doing deals. And I am very, very excited about that.
Awesome. How many people do you have on your team, Deanna?
Well, the parent company is scalable. It depends on I have multiple companies. The parent company
Yes.
will have about 20 to 30, almost 30 employees on that one. I have a bookkeeper company that has 18. I have auto shops that have 14. Different businesses have different amount of employees.
Sure. Yeah. And how do you find your customers to work with?
For Epic, I would say we do social media marketing, we do ads, we do webinars, we've done 68 challenges over the last couple years. So we did 3-day challenges, virtual events. We do live events. In fact, I'm leaving tomorrow for a live event in San Diego. So we still do live events. So we'll have, an event next week that's got 700 people coming to it. All the things. We do direct mail, digital marketing, everything. We basically try it all.
Fantastic. Can you share a recent win and the hardest challenge tied to it?
Okay. So I think just what I just mentioned is that the fact that we're pivoting to only do deals is exciting because we're going to be focusing on what we do and love and what we know that we can do and is really fun to do those acquisitions. The hardest part is explaining that to the team because we're so used to selling courses and coaching programs, things like that. And so there's always that uncertainty, but what? But what? They all have questions and that's okay. And so the unknown can be sometimes a bit scary. And we've told them like that's okay. We're gonna pivot. And so I think you pivot, it can be a hard change for people. And we all suffer from that, right? But I've always found that every single time we've pivoted, it's always been for the better. But it's just a matter of communicating and really making them understand the reason for the pivot and how everyone has a voice and an ability to help with that pivot as you grow and move into that direction. So I think that's the win and the challenge all at the same time.
Awesome. Do you feel like you have to help people change their mindset around the new strategy or the new way of doing business? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, anytime you make change, it requires everyone to really understand it. And I think the key to that with any business, if you're
Hmm.
making any change, whether that is a change in maybe you're doing a quarterly planning and you're going to make changes internally, I think the biggest key, and this is where so many people make mistakes, is not communicating, not being transparent with the team that has to implement those changes or your employees because the unknown is what they get fearful of. If you can lay out the map and show them the strategy and show them the direction of where the company is going or where you want the company to go, and they have that buy in to it, they will all back it and support it. And so what I've seen with so many people is that the leadership makes decisions and they just run with it and they don't really communicate it down. And then the team underneath them loses that ability to really see the vision. And so when they don't see it, they get confused, and a confused mind doesn't work well, right?
Hmm.
They don't perform as well, and they don't love their job anymore. And so then you have, turnover and all the things that happen, and it starts from communicating down. So I just think that, when you're in that level of leadership and you're making changes, it's so important that you really truly communicate all the way down, and it's very clear and everyone sees that vision and there's buy-in to it.
Yeah, that's excellent advice. What innovations are you looking forward to coming up here, end of 25, beginning of 26?
We are adding a lot of AI things and a lot of AI
Hmm.
tools because they can use those into finding deals, analyzing deals, things like that. So that's kind of where we're probably going to be focused a lot in 2026 is integrating AI more into the deal process.
Sure. Do you have a biggest win story?
I think it was just when I started with Roland, we were always doing deals and doing deals with the company. And I never did deals for myself ever because we did everything together. Like the company thing was together, and I worked with Roland, I worked with the company, and we did all the deals came through the company. And I never really thought of including my family in that. I do acquisition for the business, but I really wasn't setting my family up to do the same exact thing. Roland once said something to me. He said, "Why aren't you doing this yourself?" And I was like, "I don't know why I'm not doing this myself." Like I think that was like the moment that I was like, "Wow." And so I talked about it with my husband and my kids, and my son, who's 33 at the time. He really wanted to be in the automotive space. He wanted to quit his job and really focus on that. And my husband had been in the corporate world for 27 years, and he was ready to leave. And so he was like, let's do this. Let's go do acquisitions ourselves for our family and build this empire of our own portfolio. And it was scary at the same time, but it was so rewarding, and the minute that we got that first one done, it was amazing to see the difference in the family dynamics of everybody building something together and then giving that to our children, our grandkids, and being able to say, "We did that." And now we've acquired multiple businesses, and that's just I think that's really cool because 'cause you're teaching your kids that they can control their own financial freedom. They're not relying on someone else to write their paycheck. They're not relying on somebody else to they're not lining someone else's pockets. They're building something for them. And I think that was my biggest and proudest moment is when we finally did that for our family too, versus not just for I mean, I love doing everything for our company as well. And I will
Hmm.
always do it. But I never really set that off for my kids and said, hey, y'all should be doing this. And I think that was just a blind side that I had. I wasn't thinking about
Hmm.
it. So when I was like, I should be doing this for my kids too, right? That was huge.
Yeah, for yourself and your kids,
Yeah,
and you're teaching them to fish, right? You're not just
exactly,
providing the food, you're teaching them to go out and get it
exactly.
themselves. So yeah, awesome. What major shifts are you seeing in digital marketing today?
I mean, they are shifting because of AI. I think that
Hmm.
you have to embrace that and just build on it and don't be afraid of it. But that's probably the biggest thing that I'm seeing. I'm not hugely in the whole AI space myself. We have a team that does, but
Hmm.
that's where we're headed is to really build that out.
Okay. And what would you say is working well for you right now in the business, and what's been frustrating?
I think what's working well is we've got an amazing team. Over the last couple years, we've just built an incredible team together. Everyone's bought into the business. They all do what we teach, right? Like we've now ingrained that in them. Everyone needs to be out acquiring businesses. You should all be living this yourselves. And so I love that. So I would say that's the win.
What's been frustrating?
Frustrating. I think it's a mindset as well. I think a lot of times we can get in our own head and we teach this and then yet sometimes we don't apply it to ourselves. And so that can be frustrating. And that's talking to myself, right? Like all of us experience that, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and there's that. And then I think the other thing is I know right now things changed. We've got government shutdowns and things like that. And that can be frustrating in the financial space just because of what we do. But I think, again, then you have to not allow that to be the mindset. You just go, okay, now I'm going to pivot to the creative financing side. This just is even better. So just not letting people get stuck in that moment and just bringing the creative side out. So
Fantastic. Yeah, so much of it is about mindset, and it's easy to give advice. It's harder to take it, right? You have to have a really open mind and a positive mindset to believe that what you're even telling yourself is going to work. So yeah. Where do you want to be in 6 to 12 months from now with your various businesses, Deanna?
well, we're currently doing an automotive roll up. So our goal, we've acquired two automotive shops in the last 4 months. So personally, we're trying to get 10 next year. So I've got, 8 more to go on that side, and then we'll sell it as a group of 10 as a roll up of auto shops. So personally, that is one of the things that I'm working on with my son and husband. And then for Epic in general, we're looking at just having a bigger footprint and growing and scaling. So I think those are both really good goals for the new year.
Yeah, fantastic. If you could solve one major challenge in business today, what would it be?
I'm a big person on communication. And I said that earlier.
Hmm.
Wish more leaders and more owners, business owners and C levels would take that more seriously. I've seen so many businesses when we come into, whether we're consulting or whatever, and there's just a lack of communication. You can have a really amazing company, like really great company, but if the communication is there, there's a breakdown, right? In the culture of the team, the culture of the company, the culture of your clientele or whoever your avatar is. And so I wish we would focus a little bit more on owners and entrepreneurs and C-level execs to really put an emphasis on not just sales and marketing, because that is such they're powerful lanes for your business and they're required and necessary. But I
Mhm.
would put the same emphasis on communication within your business, because if we would do that, I guarantee you the rest would all follow. And I just think we don't pay attention to that. That's like one of those like thoughts that people think of like, oh, now, but if you just put that same level of time and energy into making sure that you are communicating with your C players or your staff, or maybe it's your students or clients, you would do that, you would be probably so much more successful and such less headaches, right? I just don't see that across the board in a lot of companies.
Yeah, that's a really good insight. You mentioned students. I teach classes at University of San Francisco and have a couple of classes. And one is in social media, the other is in innovation and advertising. Just curious what advice you would give to students that are about to graduate and looking to start working in marketing or advertising.
Know your worth. Like, I would say that, know your worth, go in with confidence, set yourself apart from others. I mean, there's just, what I find? I was just talking to someone 30 minutes ago. Um, the society that we have, so many people hide behind an email. They hide behind black and white, meaning paper, pen, right? Sometimes they're just afraid to be creative and talk to people the old way, the way that we used to talk to people. And so I tell people, why aren't you picking up the phone? Why aren't you calling them? Why aren't you following up with them? Well, I sent them email. They probably got 1,000 emails. What is setting you apart? What is allowing them to realize that you're the difference for their business? And I think that's the key, is just people realizing that you've got to put yourself out there and make yourself different than others and own that, and not be afraid of being able to pick up a phone or talk to that person direct. Follow up. Follow up is such a key thing, and people just don't do it. Like, person that I talked to about 30 minutes ago, I was like, did you follow up with them? No. Why? I sent an email. Pick up the phone and call them, because a face to a name or a voice to a name is what's going to set you apart. So if you're looking to jump into that business world, I guarantee you there's probably one for every 1,000 people that are applying for that job. What's going to set you apart? And that is even if they hear your voice or do a video. I love videos for jobs. Like, I love it. I think it's one of the best things that people can do is if you say, if you want to apply for jobs, send me a video because that sets you apart, right? So, and if they don't even ask, because a lot of times they won't, send a video.
Yeah,
Make
exactly.
shine where nobody else will. Make them want you so bad that they're going to hire you. Now you can call the terms of that employment, right? Like that's the key is making yourself stand out.
Yeah, that's fantastic advice. I love the video piece as well because the video creates a personal connection. They will remember your face now, not
Yeah.
just, you're not just
And
black and white on text.
they
Yeah.
hear your voice. They
Yeah.
see your
Mhm.
mannerism. They put a
Yeah.
face to the name, and then when they see your name again, oh, Susie Barnes. Like they see that, they're like, oh, I remember, right? Oh,
Yeah.
DeAnna Rogers, I remember. And so I think that's important that you're putting that there versus it just being a set of names in 1,000 people that just
Hmm.
applied. Get yourself out there and put yourself where they remember who you are.
Absolutely. Do you have any projections for 2026 and what it might look like for your businesses or business in general?
I think we're on a swing now. I think we're going back up. Things are starting to look better. I think we need to embrace it. I think we need to be adapting to the change. And I think we're going to see that we're going to get more growth again. We had a little bit of a dip, and so now you're starting to see that come back. So I'm actually very excited for the new year.
Fantastic. How do people get a hold of you, Deanna?
They can find
Say,
me on Facebook, on LinkedIn. It's DeAnna Rogers. You can find me there. I'm always happy to connect with people. I love talking to people. So yeah, feel free to find me on any of the socials.
wonderful. Thank you so much for all of your insights today. I have very much enjoyed your energy. You seem like a really fabulously positive person, and I'm sure that's why you are seeing so much success.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me. I enjoyed it. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.